You're listening to Popcorn Unscripted,
the podcast where we dive into movies and TV shows with no scripts, no filters, just real talk and plenty of popcorn.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Dylan.
We're here to talk about everything we love
And love to hate.
in pop culture. So grab your popcorn,
Sit back.
and let's get this show started. Okay, Dylan. Episode 7.
You got me mid-stretch, come on.
It's not my fault you stretching.
Well, sorry, I got a crick in my back.
Well, I do too, you do. You don't see me stretching.
Oh, hi.
Alright, so this time we are moving up into the 90s for the first time. Specifically, the year 1995.
Sorry, that caught me off guard.
Moving on up to the 90s. Surprisingly enough.
We're done with the 80s.
So,
For now.
yeah, for right now, anyway. So we are going to be talking about Jumanji, the original.
Robin Williams.
With Robin Williams. May he rest in peace. The man, the myth, legend.
The man, the lisp. The lisp.
The lisp.
That's a new one. He's got a lisp. Then again, he did intentionally give his character a lisp at time.
Yeah, he did. Every once in a while. That. Yeah.
Speaking of which, there it is.
There it is. Alright, so getting us started here. So, how does the magical board game concept in Jumanji make it stand out from other adventure films?
I think it's more interesting because of the fact that you're not being sucked into the board game, but the board game is quite literally coming alive.
Yeah.
So I think it's very unique in that aspect, especially seeing the fact that it was also the inspiration of a later movie.
Yeah, which we'll probably review later.
Yes, once we rent it.
Or if I find my DVD of it.
And it actually works.
I'm sure it does.
There's
I just don't know where it is.
You probably burnt that thing so much from watching it.
Well, probably not, because it did freak me out as a kid. But that's besides the point. But yeah, I agree. It's a very unique sort of adventure movie, because there hasn't been a movie like that ever done. So it was a very unique idea. And I absolutely enjoyed it growing up. It was an absolutely amazing movie.
It definitely made it very interactive, honestly, and actually felt really realistic.
It really, yeah. It really did. I mean, my favorite parts were, of course, the monkeys with the cop car.
That's very true. The monkeys. The monkeys were very funny with what they were doing.
Yeah.
I will say though, the scene of them in the kitchen did not age well.
No, it didn't.
It does. It looks really dated.
It really does. But I will say the makeup for the kid when he turns into a monkey.
Yeah.
That makeup was actually really done really well.
Oh yeah, it looked really well.
I think it still holds up to this day.
It's just that the CGI on the monkeys messing up the kitchen did not look well.
But I will also say the CGI and stuff for when Robin's in the floor.
Oh, that was cool.
That was really cool. I actually like that part of the movie as well.
Not to mention, it didn't look out of place whatsoever. It actually looked really well done.
Mm-hmm. Then his legs are swinging from the top of the roof.
I will say though, the lion makes me feel uncomfortable looking at.
Yeah. Just the woman just opens the door. The lion's just laying there on the bed.
Well, to be fair, the lion in general just looks off.
Yeah,
especially when it's
first seen. It looked a lot like a puppet.
It looked like a puppet, but at the same time, the way it moved its mouth and everything, it looked like it was actually a person inside of a suit.
Yeah, which I'm sure it was.
It may have been, but at times it had a little bit of CGI on it.
Yeah.
To make it more look
realistic. Which I do think they eventually used a real tamed lion for the scenes in the bedroom and stuff.
They could have, honestly.
I genuinely think they put a real lion in there at some point. But when it's first introduced, I think they used a fake lion and stuff. And then it was also CGI'd when it was running down the stairs and, chasing them and stuff.
It's just that the way it looks, it makes me so uncomfortable looking at because I can't tell what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it confuses the ever-loving crap out of me because my mom wants to think, no, this is a puppet like the spiders later on. But no, this is not a puppet. This looks like a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
But it has some CGI on it to make it more of a realistic lion.
Mm-hmm.
But that still doesn't make sense with the way it moves its head.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't make
So it's like,
sense.
as for me trying to figure out what the heck it is, turns out the whole time it's actually a lion.
Oh my gosh.
That would be funny if it actually was a lion the entire time.
I don't think it was. I really don't think it was. As much as they wanted people to probably believe that it was, I don't think it was.
Yeah, especially even with a train line, they're still unpredictable when it comes to newcomers.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no guarantee that it will be safe.
Yeah. So, did you think the movie did a good job balancing the danger of the game with the sense of adventure and fun?
I think it did.
I think it was very well balanced myself. Because I don't think you could have done a way better job than what they did.
Yeah, it definitely did a very good job for the time period that it's from.
Mm-hmm.
And it did a very good job of making it look like this board game is coming to life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with them, with the vines that they were getting pulled by.
Yeah.
And when they come back to the house, it's just an entire jungle in there.
Yeah.
That looked really well done.
It's like the game had come out from... It just come out into the real world and it's just all there.
Yeah.
I think the stampede was done really well.
Oh, yes. That looked really well done.
Yeah, I loved the stampede scene.
I still laugh at the pelican. Was it a pelican or a seagull?
No, I think that was a pelican. I'm sure that the pelican is the one with the long thing, and that's what that was. Mm. No, it might have been a seagull.
Because the seagull's the one with the like has like a bigger jaw, so it can actually like scoop up water and fish.
That's a seagull. It was a seagull then. I always get the two mixed up.
I think it's a seagull.
Yeah, I think it's a seagull as well.
Either way, it did a really good job making a lot of this look realistic.
I will say the monkeys did look odd.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that. The monkeys looked very, very odd. But mainly because of the CGI for them. Yeah,
the CGI made it hard for them to really look accurate to an actual monkey.
Yeah.
Because it looked really off, and some of them just looked like they had lower resolution compared to everything around them.
Yeah.
So it was like you could obviously tell these were CGI.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And especially with the way it almost looks like they were photoshopped in, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because when you look around the edging of their model and stuff, when they're standing still, you can plain as day tell that they do not match the scene whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you can't really get a good detail out of them. The only time you could was when that one monkey was stuck in the fridge.
Yeah.
That was the only time you got a really good look at them, because they're always moving around.
Mm-hmm. Which then again, but a lot of the CGI in the movie is either a hit or a miss. Which, of course, the movie has a lot of hits when it comes to the CGI. Especially when it comes to the board game in general. When the words come up on the middle piece and such. I would say that's cool. Pretty good. I would say that was pretty good. And then you have the alligators.
Yeah, the alligators looked really well. I wonder if those were animatronics.
I don't know.
Or not, because the way
they wouldn't have used real ones.
Yeah, they're definitely not real ones. I was trying to figure out if they were animatronics, like they do like for like some rides where they're actually just they come up a little bit and that's about it.
Yeah.
And then go right back down to the water.
Yeah.
Or if they were like completely CGI, like there was nothing there.
Either that or it could have been a puppet.
It could have been. Granted, it's also got what made me think it's not CGI was because of them actually interacting with the characters as they're moving.
Oh, yeah.
Like them holding their jaws open so it doesn't bite their leg off. So it's like, okay, yeah, it can't be CGI because of that.
Yeah.
Unless they just did a fantastic job making it look exactly part of the scene.
Oh yeah.
But then do the same quality of adjustments to the monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it makes me think of what you were saying, a puppet or an animatronic.
Yeah.
Because with an animatronic, you can lock the jaw to where it stays open at a certain angle.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you can make it more realistic to that scene without worrying about like damaging it or anything.
Right.
So it's just very interesting.
Yeah. So how did the mix of adventure, fantasy, and suspense work in Jumanji? How do you think like all of that like worked together?
I think it worked really well, especially with the music, very giving the ambience of the movie in each scene perfectly.
Yeah, I would say it all flowed together very seamlessly because you have the mix of like suspense and adventure, and then you have them facing like immediate danger because they had to go get the board game back from the Pelican. Then you had that kind of little intense moment there because you're just like, oh no, are they gonna get the board game back or not? Or are they gonna be stuck with us? And also from the hunter, yeah.
That was very funny, seeing the entire shelf of paint knocked down on him.
Yeah, that's probably my most memorable scene. That's probably one of my favorites, is that scene.
I just love the fact that there was a little, I think, error when it came to filming and stuff of the scene. I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed or not, but him being near the people as they're on the ground and stuff, and then the very next scene when the shelf's about to fall on him, then they're completely nowhere near him whatsoever. They're like 20 feet away from him.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of being like right up on them, he's now 20 feet away. And it's like, was this an error or did they just misplace the spacing?
They may have just misplaced the spacing if you really think about it. Either that or it could have been the way the camera was angled.
May have been. But it's like the people were completely gone. And when the next scene, when they try to go get the game back from him, they have to run up to him.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that he wasn't right up on them.
Yeah.
He was a distance away.
Mm-hmm.
So I just happened to notice that one on rewatch, and it's like, huh, how did I never notice this?
But I also like the scene in the gun store.
Oh, yes.
With him. I thought that was really funny.
I feel like the dude was buying a gun from the black market.
He was!
Yeah. The fact that the dude immediately goes and locks the door as he just drops this basically sack of gold coins and is like, give me your best gun.
And the dude's just like, oh, you're one
With
of those.
With pleasure.
With pleasure, my dude.
Are you hunting people with this? Dude just looks at him with a side glance.
What are you hunting with this? Oh, nobody. Just a certain man.
Just a certain man, then later on, the woman and kids.
So, how did Robin Williams' performance as Alan Parrish elevate the movie?
Perfectly.
Yeah, that's the only way to describe Robin Williams' work.
I was going to say, it's Robin Williams. You can never go wrong with this man.
Absolutely not. He knew how to do his characters, and he did them very well. As from his voiceover work to his physical work, he knew what the job was, and he did it well.
Especially seeing the fact that I think this movie was what, after or before Aladdin?
Well, this movie was in 95, so
I'm trying to remember when Aladdin came out, because if that was the case, if it was after, this would have been after Disney screwed over William with that whole ordeal. And that's insane, the fact that they did that to this man.
See, this is the first I'm hearing of that, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, apparently they had for Aladdin, they had Robin only agreed to it as if he was not the main marketing sell point of the film.
And then he ended up being and
it pissed him off.
Yeah, well, I don't blame him because that was like one of the things in his contract, and then Disney just went back on his contract.
Yeah. So he didn't that's the only reason why he's not in Aladdin 2.
So Aladdin is before Jumanji.
Okay, so
It
this was
came
after.
It came out in 92.
Okay, this was after and all that ordeal was settled because it took a new Disney CEO to correct the previous one's wrongs to Williams to come back.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only reason why he came. I think the third movie for Aladdin is when he came back and actually voiced the genie. Because of the previous one screwing him over, he didn't voice the genie in the second one. Hence why there's such a different contrast with the genie's voice.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel bad for him too, the person who voiced the genie in the second one, because he tries to make it he tries to live up to equal like acting as Robin did for the genie, and you can tell he is trying his best.
Yeah.
And he just can't replicate what Robin brought.
No.
Yeah, and I feel bad for him.
That's a man that you can't replicate. That's a man you just can't replicate that work. There are people that do it well, but it's still never the same.
Yeah, there's a certain level of personality behind those voices that he does for each character. Even Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, yes.
There's a certain personality that will never be matched aside from that man.
Yes. His personality is something you see probably once in a lifetime. And I'm very fortunate that we got to grow up with him and such. So
agreed.
So we kind of talked about that already.
Unscripted rant. To be fair, it did pertain to the question, seeing the fact that it was about the actor.
Yes, it did. We didn't go off script this time.
Yeah, we didn't. Well, we didn't go off tangent. We didn't go talk about a different movie that entirely like last time.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. We did.
So, how does the movie handle the concept of facing your fears and overcoming challenges?
I think it did it really well because I draw a blank on the names.
The kids.
Well, I'm trying to think of the boy's name.
Oh crap! We're so bad with names.
This is a downfall about this. I'm
trying to play the movie in my head. I know the girl's name is Sarah. Crap.
Hang on, I'm looking it up. Peter,
that's his name. We should remember that for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You'd think we'd remember that.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, okay, Peter. Yeah, Peter. So, I like how I like how it handled Peter. Yeah, I can't speak. I like how it handled Peter's character development throughout the film, from being very introverted because of not having his parents anymore at the start of the film, and then he becomes where he's more outgoing slowly, while also becoming more talkative. And I think it does a really good job of handling that, because he starts opening up more to Robin's character, or Alan.
Yeah.
A lot more than he did with even the aunt. So I think he did a good job with embracing his character development and developing it even more.
Yeah, I agree. Especially since throughout the film you can see how Peter utilizes what's around him. And he's a very smart kid.
Oh yeah.
And he uses how he uses his abilities. It's like he sees a problem, and then he's like, oh, we can just do this, and that solves that, sort of thing. And so I guess he, built his confidence over time. Yeah. Is essentially the way it is.
Though we do have to take a little bit of a point, since he did try to cheat the board game, but he had good intentions.
He did. He was just wanting to end it, just like everybody else did.
Yeah. And it's just that it backfired heavily by making him basically a monkey.
And then you have Alan, who had this big fear of just continuing the game in general. But over time, you can see how his time in the board game helped get them to finish the game, and he faced his fear there at the end with the hunter. Yeah. As well.
Especially since the fact that it was very close to the end of the game, too. And he had no idea whether or not Peter would roll the exact number that he needed to win the game.
Yeah, he had no clue. Which then again, he only had 2 spaces left.
Oh, wait, no, it wasn't Peter that did it. It was Alan that rolled it.
Yeah, it was Alan that rolled the last because Alan only had 2 spaces left. So he was going to win it regardless.
Well, then again, we don't know what the rules are when it comes to the game, unless you had to roll the exact amount that you needed to land on that spot, or you could go over that limit. Because a lot of games that make
clearly we did know that because
because
Alan rolled over the limit.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh.
He didn't roll exactly 2.
Okay. Let's say, because I know some board games are set up where if you have to roll the exact amount to land on the end spot, you can't go over that limit. And if you do, you have to go back a couple
is that way.
Yeah, you have to go back a couple spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I thought he didn't go over. I thought he rolled the exact amount.
Yeah, no, he did go over
Gotcha.
the amount. Yeah. So, which of the board game creatures was your favorite and why?
I don't know.
I'm not really sure myself either.
I mean, well, we talk about the fact that we talked about the hunter.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the stampede.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them and the lions, spiders. There's not
also
a lot.
those bee things.
Oh yeah, those weird mosquitos.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I hate those things.
Yeah, them things are ugly as heck.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of them things where it
made me shiver just thinking about it.
Yeah, and not to mention your body goes into like almost a seizure when you get bit by those.
Or stung.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you really can't pick just one creature from the board game.
You really can't.
Because they had so many interesting ones.
My favorite thing from the board game, as I had mentioned before, is the stampede.
Yeah.
I would say the stampede's probably my favorite.
The stampede looked really well done, though.
Mm-hmm. It really did. I really liked the stampede. Either that or the vines. I kind of liked the scene where the vines just kind of took the cop car and then pulled it in and bent it in half.
Bro, that gave me Monster House vibes.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where there's so many creatures in this. Because we're also forgetting entirely the Venus flytrap that tried to eat Peter.
That's not a Venus flytrap.
I'm thinking of 2 different ones. Because there was a Venus flytrap on the top of the top shelf or something, but then I don't know what the thing is that he got grabbed by.
It was one of the, I can't remember how Alan put it, but he said there was like 3 types, but stay away from the yellow ones. And that one that he ended up being swallowed by was one of the yellow ones. Like there was like 3 different flowers.
Yeah, it gives me.
And the yellow ones are the ones that eat you.
It gives me Bellsprout vibes from Pokemon.
Oh yeah, it does.
I'm just trying to think of what its real life counterpart is, and it's like I'm trying to think of what that species is.
I'm trying to think because there is a Pokemon that looks just like it.
It's Bellsprout, isn't it? Or
no,
like
not
it's one
Bellsprout.
of its evolutions.
It's one of the evolutions, and I can't remember it. I can't think.
Because I remember Jace. I think it's James. I forgot their names were Jesse and James of Team Rocket.
Jesse and James. Yeah.
And James will a bunch of times get eaten by it.
God, it starts with a V, I think. God, it's gonna bug me now. That's gonna bug me so bad. I know it starts with a V.
Victor Bell.
Yeah.
I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Because it starts as Bellsprout and then becomes Weeping Bell and then becomes Victory Bell.
Yeah.
And it's like, and Victory Bell is the one that looks exactly like that, but I can't think of its real life name.
Oh, I don't know what it's actually called.
Because I was thinking the Venus flytrap grabbed him, but no, I was thinking the thing that popped up originally that's on the top shelf. It looked like a Venus flytrap, but the thing that tried to eat Peter was not the Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
I just don't remember what the thing is called.
I don't remember either.
But that thing, I say that thing had to be an animatronic.
Either that or it was kind of like a rope trick. So they had like an actual rope that had like wrapped around his leg, and it was like coated in green
Yeah.
stuff, and then they from the other side inside the cabinet had somebody pulling the rope in.
Well, I'm talking like the creature itself. The creature itself, the way it moved and stuff, it looked mechanical.
Well, yeah, it very well could have been, yeah.
That's one thing is like, especially with the way it retracted back into that little cat hole that it had, that looked exactly like an animatronic does. When like it goes back into its dormant state and then goes right back into where its starting position.
Which then again, if you think about it, in the 90s, animatronics were very widely used in movies and TV.
They were very widely used because it made it easier for a lot of scenes, aside from using stuff that could easily tear or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So using an animatronic, yes, it would tear easy, but at the same time, you can set its parameters that way it wouldn't tear easily.
Yeah.
Because you can set like how wide it can open its mouth, how wide a wider range of motion it has, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take into account of the fabric and stuff that's on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it easier to use instead of like a puppet, say.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about the performances from Robin Williams, Bonnie Hunt, and the younger cast members? Did they all work well together?
I think so.
I think so too.
Especially the fact that they played off of each other so well.
Yeah, it was like it felt natural in a sense. Like the way that they were all the way they were all bouncing off of each other, it felt like they just had the chemistry there. You know, and it felt like they probably, if I were to be on the Jumanji set and I were to be watching them filming all of these scenes, I would imagine they were just like one little family.
Yeah.
Is how I would imagine it.
Yeah, especially with how you put it, they bounce off each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
It felt so natural that it looked
It didn't feel like they were acting at all.
Yeah, it makes you think of like how many tries did it take for each scene and stuff with the way they were bouncing off each other so well.
Yeah.
Especially with the fact that Disney at the time was using a lot of kid actors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense for them. It would make sense for like Robin and the other actress to like help the kids also with their acting as well.
Yeah. So
it makes it more natural that way too, because they're basically teaching them while they are acting in character.
Yeah.
So it makes it easy. It makes a kind of a double, two birds with one stone.
Mm-hmm.
They get the acting experience that they could use for later on if they get into our movies, while also simultaneously doing really well in the scenes that they're already in for the movie.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So we kind of already touched on this, but I kind of want to go more in depth with it. So what makes Alan's character arc so compelling? How does his backstory with the game shape his development?
It does seem very interesting, though. It does seem like he seems more... I don't know how to put it.
Because if you were to... So, he gets sucked into the game. And prior to that, he had an argument with his father. And he ends up telling his father, I never want to speak to you again. Mm-hmm. And so, ultimately, he gets sucked into the game. And he's there for, 23 years?
Yes. 23
years. And so, he comes back out after Peter rolls 5. Because he had to roll a 5 or an 8 in order for him to come back out of the game. So he comes out and he's still, even though he's aged, he's still a child.
Yeah.
He still has that like child mindset where it's like, you know, it's like he grew up, but he didn't grow up.
He didn't grow up mentally.
Yeah.
And it's understandable seeing the fact that he got basically sucked into, from what we can understand, basically a jungle.
But we don't know what that jungle looks like.
Yeah.
We don't know what kind of stuff that he had to face in that jungle that he saw. We don't know what he saw while trapped in the game. Yeah,
all we know is from the reboot of Jumanji, and where he actually built a home for himself.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
We don't know, but we don't. That's a reboot. That's not the actual Robin Williams Jumanji.
Yeah.
So we have no clue what the jungle and what threats he was facing off in that jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if it was a jungle. We don't even know that.
We don't even know. It could have been like the space that was actually in the reboot.
Yeah.
It was probably some kind of we just don't know.
Yeah. But I will say, I will quote it as basically, or treat it as the reboot is a completely separate continuity because of the fact of the whole respawn mechanic.
Yeah. Which then again, in the reboot, the board game had to adapt because the kids weren't playing board games anymore. So the game thought for itself, it was like, oh, so I need to change. And so then it changed it to a game cartridge for the NES, I think is what it was that he played on. Because it changed into a game cartridge.
Oh, I thought it was an Atari system.
It might have been. It could have been. I don't know. But I knew it was a cartridge. I
think you had it right. I think it was NES.
But I knew it had changed into a cartridge of some kind. Where you plug into one of the systems that were there during that time.
Yeah. As of right now, unless they say that these are both the same continuities, I'm going to treat them as separate entirely. But if the fact that it changed to adapt because of it becoming a cartridge, but it's the same game more or less, but just upgraded a little bit to the specifications.
To cater to the new generations.
Yeah. Then it will be the exact same world that Alan got sucked into, but just with the game mechanics.
But then again, if you think about the reboot, in the house, Alan Parrish's name is in the house.
Yeah.
Written in the house somewhere. I don't remember exactly where. It's been a while since I've watched that movie.
I think it's on like a balcony or something, but it's like...
It's on some kind of sign.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things of... Until it actually is confirmed that both these are the same continuity, but just altered because of the game, it becoming a video game cartridge, I'm going to treat them as such. And not as the same continuity, but this is a separate Alan Parrish, my bad. As a separate Alan entirely, and not Robin Williams.
Yeah.
But if it does, that would make sense being the same place, but just change to the basically the aspects of a video game with the whole respawn mechanic and stuff. Mm-hmm. Which makes you think of what Alan had to survive with is the fact that the live mechanic didn't exist. So he was playing basically one life and you're gone.
Yeah.
While these new people are not got the luxury of having 3 lives, but having to deal with the repercussions of losing that life.
Yeah. But being in the jungle, I think kind of helped him to realize that he had it good where he was.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure. And you see that when he comes out of the game. He's already, he's jumping up, he's excited, he's just like, Mom, Dad, I'm back! I'm back, it's me! You know, really excited and stuff, and then he discovers that all of that's gone because he decided to play the game with... Is it Sarah? Is the older woman's name? Okay. And so...
Because the little girl is Judy.
That's right.
I had to look it up.
That's right. But yeah, and then as they play through the game, he ultimately faces what happens to his parents in the future. And he realizes how much his dad actually loved him and not what he had originally thought too. And so I think he definitely... his character definitely... You do see a lot of development throughout the whole movie.
Heck, you can also see a little bit of, maybe a little bit of personality disorder.
Maybe slightly, but you do have to think he still has that child mentality.
That's what I'm saying, because you can see him, switch between, very quickly between, being brave and stuff, and then immediately turning back to, kind of nervous and everything, anxiety. So it's it almost has a PTSD / personality disorder.
Which actually would make sense if he has PTSD, because of all of the stuff that's coming out of the game. He knows what all of this stuff is, and he knows what happens with when that stuff, he knows. He knows the game like the back of his hand.
Yeah, so, and it explains why, and I will explain the personality disorder, because notice how anytime something happened involving the game, it was instantly a brave Alan.
Mm-hmm.
But then afterwards, it would become more anxious Alan when there wasn't anything, and he would switch between like cracking jokes and all that, and then go back to being nervous and everything. So he has basically a personality disorder in a way, but not exactly.
So how does Jumanji explore the theme of facing your fears and consequences of reckless actions?
I'll say it does very well, because we also see repercussions of Alan not telling his dad that he's the one that caused the shoe to be destroyed.
Yeah.
And it got the guy fired from his job and then becoming a cop. But we also see that the shoe factory is also out of business now and basically in shambles when he comes back.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic, which is kind of funny, because after that, we don't see about the shop whatsoever. So we don't even know if it's still in operation at the end of the movie. We have no clue if it's still in operation.
Well, yeah, we do. Because if it was in operation before he went into the game, it would still be in operation afterwards.
No, I mean like when he becomes an adult at the end of the movie, like when he goes back to his original.
Oh no, it
time.
is.
Oh, it's still in?
Yes, because on the phone call, because Alan's on a phone call and he's talking to his dad on the phone call. So his parents are still alive.
Well, I mean,
and he's talking to his dad about a new shoe line.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear about the new shoe line. I misinterpreted that. I just didn't hear that part entirely, I guess. Because I was thinking like there was
now the
no
factory may be like different at that point in time, and might be working with different things. It might have evolved.
Yeah.
It probably has just evolved over time since he had come back. But yeah, the shoe factory's still there.
Okay. I was thinking that it was either there or it wasn't, because I couldn't remember if there was.
Oh yeah, it was
Even
still
on the
there.
rewatch, I don't think I heard that part.
You just have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, I can't do that for a lot of movies.
So, how do the movie's themes of adventure and risk translate to a younger audience?
I think it translates it pretty good, because
Yeah.
I mean, it gives the action and adventure that you would expect out of a movie about a board game coming to life.
Yeah.
Along with keeping you on your toes of what is going to come out of it.
Dare I say that it kind of has an Indiana Jones feel to it?
Yeah.
Just kind of more Disney-fied, I guess. Or, well, no, Jumanji's not Disney.
Yeah, it is.
It is Disney?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's on Disney's Disney Plus and everything. I
No.
think it was Disney.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, I guess I watched it on Disney Plus, actually.
Well, my Hulu is connected with my Disney Plus account, so...
hold on.
But no. This Jumanji's on Hulu. It's not on Disney. It might have Disney's name on it, though. On, like, the poster or the cover of it.
I don't know. I'm trying to find it. Because I thought it was Disney that made it.
I don't know. I don't really know.
Sony.
Yeah, it was Sony that made it. Okay.
Jumanji was not made by Disney, but it was produced by TriStar Pictures, which was part of Sony.
Okay.
So
I didn't think it was Disney.
Oh, wait, if that's the case, maybe it is true that both are in the same continuity, because they're both made by Sony.
Yeah.
So it might actually be true that they are based off of each other. And not just it's a little Easter egg referring to the original movie.
It's actually
what he did.
Yeah.
So it would be the same problems he faced. Just in a video game aspect this time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
That is very interesting.
Because I didn't even know Sony made it.
Yeah, I didn't either. But then again, my mom had me watch Disney movies a lot when I was younger, so it kind of just all blurs together, I guess.
Yeah, for real. Especially with the way it's done and everything, it gives the Disney vibe.
It does.
So
It
it
does.
makes sense. It makes sense to think it was Disney because that's the vibe it gives off.
It does. So, to kind of wrap things up here, so the film had groundbreaking effects at the time. How do you think it holds up today, especially with the animals and jungle scenes?
Some has aged really well and some has not.
I agree. Like the monkeys we were talking about earlier.
The monkeys,
I
the
don't think-
spiders.
yeah.
The spiders, that's
The
painfully-
spiders. I feel like the spiders kind of moved really weird.
Well, to be fair, they're not even moving.
Yeah.
They're just moving up and down. That's it.
Yeah.
Their legs are not even moving.
Yeah.
But then there's that one part of it where it actually looks like a real spider, like trying to bite, and then cuts right back to just a like stuffed spider that they were using.
Yeah.
So it's like it aged. Some parts of it aged really well and looks fantastic, like the stampede that you were mentioning earlier, and the monkeys outside of the kitchen area.
Yeah.
For some reason, the kitchen area seemed to be a dead spot when it came to CGI.
Yeah, I agree.
But when you take them outside, literally outside, and when they're still in the cop car, it looked fine, which is kind of weird.
I guess it's because it was so up close and personal. Maybe.
It could also be lighting differences.
Maybe. I don't know. That's honestly an interesting thing to think about.
Because the CGI may have been trying to replicate like natural lighting from like sunlight and was not doing too well in the kitchen area. But when it was doing it like straight on from the sunlight being outside, then it worked really well because it was automatically at the same level.
Yeah, I agree. That's all for today's episode of Popcorn Unscripted.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PopUnscripted, then Popcorn Cinema on Facebook.
And let us know your thoughts or any suggestions for future episodes. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. We upload every Wednesday and Saturday.
If you'd like to send us a message or subscribe for bonus content, check out the links in the description.
Your support means a lot and helps keep the conversation going.
If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to leave us a review. It helps us out a ton, and we love hearing your thoughts.
Until next time, keep your popcorn close.
And your movie critiques closer.
Thanks for listening to Popcorn Unscripted.